Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. His Excellency Mr. Ihab I.M. Khalil, Ambassador of the State of Palestine to Sri Lanka, Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Minister Bimal Ratnayaka, Members of Parliament, Excellencies, distinguished guests. I am honored to be here today at this important event organized by the Embassy of the State of Palestine to mark Al-Nakba Day, the day of catastrophe, under the theme International Action Towards Ending the Nakba and Realizing the Inalienable Rights of the Palestinian People. The year 1948 is of profound significance to both Sri Lanka and Palestine, though for very different reasons. For Sri Lanka, February 4th, 1948 marks the nation's independence from British colonial rule, transitioning into self-governance. In stark contrast, 3 months later, just 3 months later, on May 15th, 1948, Nakba Day began for the Palestinians, symbolizing the violent displacement of over 700,000 people and the destruction of their villages, marking the beginning of a long-standing refugee crisis following the establishment of the State of Israel. While Sri Lanka was celebrating its freedom from colonial rule, Palestinians were facing dispossession and exile. This shared year of 1948 connects the two nations, one marking the end of colonial domination, the other entering a new phase of occupation and statelessness. As Edward Said poignantly reminds us, the Palestinian experience is central to understanding what it means to be colonized and what it means to resist. Sri Lanka, in its own journey towards independence, understands the importance of sovereignty and the painful cost of colonization. It is from this shared historical consciousness that Sri Lanka's solidarity with Palestine emerges, rooted in a common commitment to justice, self-determination, and the enduring struggle against all forms of oppression. Sri Lanka and the State of Palestine share a long-standing relationship marked by warmth, friendship, and mutual respect. Sri Lanka has consistently extended its unwavering support to the Palestinian cause in multilateral fora, and its commitment to the rights and aspirations of the Palestinian people remains steadfast and enduring. Sri Lanka remains deeply committed to supporting the Palestinian people through both symbolic gestures and concrete action. On the 1st of April 2024, the government of Sri Lanka contributed $1 million to the Gaza Children's Fund through the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, a donation made possible through the collective effort of government institutions and the public, including by those who forego their iftar celebrations in order to make their donations. In August 2024, an additional $590,000 was contributed to the fund. Earlier, in January 2024, Sri Lanka handed over a consignment of Ceylon tea to Palestine as a token of solidarity. Sri Lanka unequivocally condemns terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. We have experienced what terrorism, the misery that terrorism can bring on a population. Our long-standing commitment to Palestine is reflected, however, in our diplomatic history as well. In 1975, Sri Lanka permitted the establishment of a PLO office in Colombo, which was upgraded to a full-fledged embassy on the 6th of February 1989, following the proclamation of the State of Palestine in November 1988. Further strengthening our ties, Sri Lanka opened its representative office in Ramallah in 2007. Sri Lanka is deeply concerned by the ongoing escalation of violence in Gaza. The United Nations has repeatedly sounded the alarm over the deepening humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza. Since the enforcement of the blockade in March 2025, The entry of essential food, water, and medical supplies has been severely restricted, effectively paralyzing humanitarian relief operations. Most shockingly, the UN reports that at least 100 children are being killed or injured every single day in Gaza since airstrikes resumed on March 18th. This level of violence against civilians, especially children, is unconscionable and cannot be tolerated by any standard of humanitarian law. As members of the international community, we are not bystanders. We are bound by clear legal and moral obligations under international law. When credible evidence of grave violations occur, silence is complicity. It is our urgent duty to move beyond expressions of concern and take decisive action, ensuring accountability, protecting innocent lives, and securing justice for the Palestinian people. Anything less would be a failure of our shared humanity. Sri Lanka has been supporting the inalienable rights of the Palestinian people to be an independent, sovereign state, and the importance of the early implementation of the UN General Assembly resolution regarding a two-state solution on the basis of the 1967 borders that my colleague Mr. Bimal Ratnayak also referred to. Two states living side by side in harmony with one another within secure borders is key to achieving long-term security, peace, and prosperity. As we reflect on our shared histories and interconnected struggles, it is important to remember that beyond politics and borders, it is the people who bear the true cost of war and displacement. We know this only too well. Sri Lanka, too, is a nation that has endured the trauma of conflict. Nearly 3 decades of war, during which thousands of civilian lives were lost, families were torn apart, and generations grew up amidst fear and uncertainty. We know, perhaps more than many, what it means to long for peace, for justice, and for healing. On this day, we call on the international community and all parties concerned to make renewed efforts to achieve a lasting solution. We reiterate our calls for an immediate cessation of violence. We call for the free movement of essential items and humanitarian aid, including food, fuel, medicine, electricity, and water supply to Gaza. In this spirit, I wish to end with a few lines by the great Palestinian poet Mahmoud Darwish. I hope I pronounced that correctly. The war will end, the leaders will shake hands, the old woman will keep waiting for her martyred son. That girl will wait for her beloved husband, and those children will wait for their heroic father. I don't know who sold our homeland, but I saw who paid the price. Thank you.